Another round. Mona didn't look up right away. Her hands kept moving, wiping the counter in slow, practiced circles as the fluorescent lights overhead hummed like dying insects. 22 hours awake. Her feet burned inside too tight shoes. Her lower back had gone numb sometime around hour 18, but she smiled anyway. Smiles meant tips. Tips meant Minho wouldn't have to eat instant noodles tomorrow. Another round, the voice repeated, louder this time. Mona finally lifted her gaze. Corner booth. 3 men in expensive suits. And a young woman. Couldn't be more than 20. Pressed flat against the wall. Shoulders drawn in, like she was trying to disappear. The man closest to her reached out and grabbed her wrist. Hard. The woman whimpered. Around her, staff suddenly found reasons to be busy. Nobody looked at the corner booth. Nobody ever looked when rich men got handsy. Rich men bought expensive bottles. Rich men kept the lights on. The woman tried, pulling her arm back. The man's grip tightened, and something in Mona's chest cracked open. Her manager would kill her. She'd lose this job. She thought of Minho, asleep in their shoebox apartment, trusting her. Then she thought of her mother's bruises. All the times someone could have helped and didn't. Mona crossed the floor. Sir, she kept her voice level. I think you've had enough. I can call security to help you to your car. The man's face went red. He lurched up, expensive cologne and cheap whiskey rolling off him. Do you know who I am? Someone who's about to leave. Mona didn't flinch. You can take my job, do whatever you want with me, but let her go. Security finally materialized. The man was escorted out, still screaming threats. The young woman fled. Other customers returned to their drinks. In the corner booth, an elderly woman in Chanel watched everything with sharp eyes. Mona's shift ended at 11. She was counting tips. Not enough when the elderly woman approached. Up close she was striking. Silver hair in an elegant bun, pearls at her throat, 70s, but her eyes were young and uncomfortably perceptive. That was brave, the woman said, and stupid. Mona shrugged. Probably. You have real courage and kindness. Those are rare. She slid a business card across the counter. My name is Han Jai-hua. I have a proposal. Mona glanced at the card. If this is some escort thing. Marry my grandson. Mona blinked. What? Marry my grandson. Help him remember how to live. In return, I'll grant you any wish. You want me to marry a stranger? I want you to save my grandson's life. He's been dead inside for 2 years. Something flickered across her face. I've watched you all night. The way you treat your colleagues. The way you stood up even though it could cost everything. You're exactly what he needs. Mona laughed bitterly. Let me guess. Rich, handsome, and tragically misunderstood? Handsome, yes. Rich, unfortunately. Misunderstood? No. He understands himself perfectly. That's the problem. I don't trust rich people. Mona pushed the card back. My mother married a rich man. It destroyed her. Almost destroyed me. Think about it. The woman left the card. If you change your mind. The apartment building looked worse in the dark. Mona climbed to the 3rd floor, already dreading the walk-up. Minho was sitting on the hallway floor. He was 10 and trying not to cry, their 2 duffel bags packed beside him. Everything they owned. His school uniform folded carefully on top. The landlord changed the locks, he said quietly. We're 3 months behind. Mona dropped to her knees. Her vision blurred. I'm sorry. I tried. It's okay, Nuna. He patted her shoulder. We'll figure it out. The tears came anyway. Mona pulled him close, breathing in cheap shampoo. When they pulled apart, she tried to think. Maybe 40,000 won left. A few nights in the cheapest motel. After that, maybe we should call him, Minho said, very small. Maybe father has changed. No, harder than she meant. Minho flinched. Baby, no. You know we can't. But we don't have anywhere. I'm going to fix this. She cupped his face. Do you trust me? He nodded. Then trust me now. We are never going back there. I would rather we starve. Do you understand? I understand. Barely a whisper. I'd rather starve too. I don't want to go back either. Never, Mona promised. She grabbed their bags. Come on. To my amazing subscribers, thank you for being here. And if you're new here, welcome. You just found a channel that tells deep, emotional stories. Hit like if you're already hooked on Mona's story. Subscribe so you never miss our next upload. The motel was exactly as terrible as the price suggested, but it had a door that locked and a mostly clean bed. Minho fell asleep immediately, one hand wrapped around Mona's wrist. Mona sat in the dark and thought about everything she couldn't give him. Safety, stability, education, a future. Then she pulled out the business card. The number rang twice. I was hoping you'd call. I have conditions, Mona said. The wish isn't for me. It's for my brother. Minho. He's 10. I want him safe. Educated. Somewhere my stepfather can never find him. Never touch him. Never hurt him again. Her voice shook. Whatever it costs. Just keep him safe. Silence. Then she said, Done. I'll send a car in the morning. That's it? You just offered me everything I wanted. A pause. Get some sleep, Mona. Tomorrow your life changes. The line went dead. The Han estate looked like something from a drama. Sprawling gardens, a mansion that could house 50 people, staff in uniforms. Mona stood before a mirror and didn't recognize herself. Designer dress, professional styling, makeup by a beauty consultant. She looked expensive, polished. She looked like a stranger. Why hide where I come from? Mona asked. Grandmother Han adjusted the pearls at Mona's throat. Real pearls. My grandson has walls. Very high. Very thick. If he knows you were paid, he'll use it to push you away. He'll never see you as anything but a transaction. But that's what this is. Is it? Grandmother Han met her eyes in the mirror. You're not here for money. You're here for love. The kind that makes you work 3 jobs. The kind that makes you stand between a child and everything that wants to hurt him. She squeezed Mona's shoulder. Let Ji-soo see you first. The circumstances can come later. The deception felt wrong, but Mona thought about what Grandmother Han had told her. About Ji-soo's losses. His walls. Okay, Mona said quietly. Good. Now, ready to say goodbye to your brother? Minho sat in the garden, staring at the grounds with wide eyes. He jumped up when he saw her. Nuna, this place is huge. Mona laughed despite the lump in her throat. You'll get used to it. I won't be here. I'll be at school. Excitement and terror mixed. I start tomorrow. They gave me a uniform. And books. Of course. Mona knelt, straightening his collar. You're going to love it. What if I'm not smart enough? Then you'll work harder. You're the smartest person I know. She pulled him into a hug, trying to memorize everything. Call me if you need anything. I will. His voice was muffled. Thank you, Nuna. Don't thank me. Just be happy. Study hard. Be a kid. She cupped his face. You get to be a kid now. No more being scared or saying grown things. You're safe. Because of you. Because I love you. She kissed his forehead. Now go. She watched him walk to the car, heading toward a future she'd bartered her life for. When he turned and waved, Mona waved back, smiling, until he was gone. Then she cried. Ji-soo stared at his grandmother with barely contained fury. You promised, he said. After the banker's daughter, you promised you'd stop meddling. I promised I'd stop setting you up on dates. Grandmother Han examined her nails. This is a marriage, completely different. I'm not doing this. Ji-soo, no. He gripped his desk. I've played along for 2 years. But marriage to a stranger? Absolutely not. She's not a stranger to me. Silence fell. Outside, birds sang in the garden where Rena used to walk. You know I'm dying, Ji-soo. He froze. The doctors give me a year. Maybe less. Her voice stayed steady. He swallowed hard, trying to contain his emotions. She took his hands. Her fingers felt fragile. My only wish is to see you happy. To see you live again, instead of just existing. This girl, Mona, I think she can help you remember how. You don't know that. I know she has courage, kindness. I know she stood up to a man twice her size to protect a stranger. Grandmother Han's eyes were bright. I know she reminds me of you before you decided feeling anything was too dangerous. Ji-soo looked away. How is this fair to her? Let her worry about that. He thought about refusing, about protecting the emptiness he'd built around his heart. Then he thought about losing her, about being completely alone. 1 year, he heard himself say. I'll give you 1 year, but I won't love her. This marriage will be a contract, nothing more. That's all I ask. She kissed his cheek. After she left, Ji-soo opened his desk drawer. A photograph. Rena, laughing, sunlight in her hair. Beautiful, alive, gone. He'd made a promise at her grave, never to replace her, never to fall in love again. He put the photo away. 1 year. He just had to keep his distance. How hard could it be? The wedding was small, private, held in the estate garden under cherry trees past blooming. Mona walked down the aisle alone. The dress was beautiful. Silk and lace. It fit perfectly. At the altar, Ji-soo Han waited. Devastatingly handsome, tall, sharp-featured, expensive suit. Dark eyes that passed over her, with about as much interest as furniture. His jaw was tight, shoulders rigid. Everything screamed, I don't want to be here. At least they had that in common. The officiant began. Mona heard the words underwater. Marriage, union, partnership. Ji-soo's responses were rehearsed. When her turn came, Mona looked at him directly. He stared back. Nothing. Just cold assessment. I do, she said clearly. The officiant turned to Ji-soo. And do you... Ji-soo leaned close, voice low. Just so you know, this marriage will never be real. Mona blinked. Of all the things she'd expected, casual cruelty 30 seconds before vows wasn't it. Then something bubbled up, almost like amusement. She smiled. Ji-soo frowned. You think this is funny? I think you're very dramatic. Excuse me? Mr. Han, we're in the middle of a wedding ceremony. She nodded toward the officiant. But right now you have about 10 seconds to say I do. So, maybe save the declarations for after? His brows knitted together for just a second. Surprise, maybe. Then it was gone. I do, he said flatly. The officiant pronounced them married with visible relief. Ji-soo didn't kiss her, just signed the certificate and walked away. There was no reception, just Grandmother Han squeezing Mona's hand. Give him time. He's been hurt. Haven't we all? Mona murmured. Later, alone, the smile faded. 1 year, she told herself. You can survive anything for 1 year. The mansion had 23 bedrooms. A staff member gave Mona a tour. Mr. Han has instructed us to prepare a room for you, the woman said carefully. He said you should choose any guest room you like. Any room except his, you mean? The woman's silence was answer enough. Which one is his? A hesitation. Then the woman pointed down the hall. The master suite, at the end of the east wing. Perfect. Mona smiled brightly. I'll take the room right next to it. But Mrs. Han, there are much nicer. I like the light in this wing. Total lie. All the rooms had the same north-facing windows. This one's perfect. The staff member looked like she wanted to argue. Then she seemed to remember that Mona was technically her employer now, and nodded. As you wish. That night, she heard Ji-soo's door open around 11. Mona had been waiting. She'd put on her sheet mask, the white, terrifying kind, and added cucumber slices over her eyes. She stepped into the hallway just as Ji-soo emerged. He saw her and jumped back, his hand flying to his chest. What the? Mona removed one cucumber slice. It's a face mask, for hydration. She gestured to her ghost-white face with her free hand. I have to look beautiful for my husband, don't I? Ji-soo stared at her like she'd grown a second head. You're insane. You say the sweetest things, she replied. Why are you in this wing? I liked this one. She replaced the cucumber slice. Good night, husband. She heard him mutter, what have I gotten myself into? As he hurried past. Mona grinned. Maybe this wouldn't be so terrible. 1 week into the marriage, Ji-soo decided to escalate. He told Jae-min his plan over drinks at the office. His best friend, his only real friend, if he was honest, listened with increasing disbelief. You're going to bring home a fake mistress, Jae-min repeated, to upset her. Women hate being disrespected. She'll demand a divorce within a week, Ji-soo said. Jae-min set down his glass. You know you're not actually sleeping with anyone. She doesn't know that. This is possibly the stupidest plan you've ever had. Do you have a better one? Yes. Talk to her like an adult. Ji-soo snorted. Pass. The woman he hired was an actress. Beautiful. Sophisticated. Willing to play along for money. They entered through the front door. Ji-soo had timed it for dinner. Mona emerged from the kitchen, flour on her hands. Ji-soo braced for tears, screaming. Instead, Mona beamed. You're home. Oh, you brought a guest. Perfect. I made too much food. The actress leaned into Ji-soo. I don't think she understands who I am. Mona's smile didn't waver. You're his mistress. I'm his wife. Her eyes met Ji-soo's, sharp as glass. He'll always come home to me. Then, shifting gears seamlessly, she asked, Now, are you staying for dinner or not? I'd hate for the food to go to waste. The actress looked at Ji-soo. Ji-soo looked at Mona. Mona kept smiling. The actress started. Mona was already heading back toward the dining room. Come on, before it gets cold. Dinner was excruciating. Mona made polite conversation about the weather, the garden, sea turtles. She asked the actress about her work. Genuine interest, no hostility. The actress looked increasingly uncomfortable. Ji-soo realized with growing horror that his plan had completely backfired. After 30 minutes of painful small talk, the actress excused herself. I should go. Early call time tomorrow. Of course. Mona walked her to the door. It was lovely meeting you. Come back anytime. When she returned, Ji-soo was still sitting at the table, staring at his untouched food. Next time, hire someone with a bit of experience, Mona said, clearing plates. She kept looking at you for cues. Pretty obvious. Mona stacked dishes. Also, mistresses don't usually arrive at dinner time. Ji-soo's eyes widened slightly. His expression screamed, What kind of a woman is this? She left him sitting there, speechless, and disappeared into the kitchen humming. The next day, Jaemin couldn't hold back his laughter. She invited you to dinner? With the fake mistress? Ji-soo glowered. It's not funny. It's hilarious. I like her. You're not helping, Ji-soo added. I'm really not trying to. Jaemin was still laughing. Face it, Ji-soo. You've met your match. 3 days. Later, Ji-soo tried a different tactic. From now on, he announced over breakfast, we will maintain strict formality. I expect professional conduct. Mona looked up. Of course, husband. Don't call me that. What should I call you, husband? She asked. Mr. Han or Ji-soo, if you must be casual. She nodded. Whatever you say, husband. Would husband like more coffee? His jaw tightened. I'm serious. I understand completely, husband. She nodded earnestly. Does husband require anything else? Stop. Of course, husband. She bowed deeply after every sentence, face perfectly innocent. Ji-soo felt a headache building behind his eyes. You're doing this on purpose. Doing what, husband? That. Stop saying husband. But you're my husband, husband. He stood abruptly, chair scraping back. You're impossible. Yes, husband, she called after him as he stalked away. Have a wonderful day at work, husband. He heard her giggling as he reached the hallway. Despite himself, the corner of his mouth twitched. He forced it back down and kept walking. 3 weeks into the marriage, Ji-soo started noticing things. Mona laughed constantly, bright and easy, but sometimes it rang hollow, like she was performing happiness rather than feeling it. She checked her phone obsessively throughout the day, then shoved it away with forced cheer when she caught him watching. She flinched, barely, almost imperceptibly, when he raised his voice or moved too quickly. Then she'd cover it with a joke, redirecting before he could ask questions. And she never, ever talked about herself. Every question got deflected with humor or stories about other people. One evening, Ji-soo found her in the library. She was curled in an armchair, reading, looking almost peaceful. He surprised himself by sitting across from her. Tell me about your family. Her hands froze on the book, just for a second. Then the bright smile appeared. Not much to tell. I'm boring. You're many things, Ji-soo said. Boring isn't one of them. She looked at him strangely. Then she launched into a story about a college roommate's mishap with a microwave and a metal fork. The story was funny. He almost laughed, but he noticed she never answered his question. Later, alone in his study, Ji-soo wondered why he cared. He was supposed to be pushing her away, not trying to understand her. But there was something about her, something behind the smiles that he couldn't quite see. He told himself to stop looking. He didn't. That night, Ji-soo heard her voice through the wall. Quiet, careful, like she was trying not to be heard. He shouldn't listen. It wasn't his business. But he found himself moving closer to the shared wall anyway. How are your classes? Mona was saying. Are you making friends? Are you eating enough? A pause. Then her laugh, genuinely warm this time. Read them all then. Every single one. Another pause. Longer. I love you, Minho. I miss you. Minho. The name registered but didn't compute. A brother? A son? Ji-soo stepped back from the wall, feeling like he'd intruded on something private. He filed the name away and kept walking. The next afternoon, it rained. Ji-soo returned from the office to find Mona outside in the downpour, soaking wet, covered in mud, crouched under a hedge. What are you doing? She looked up, rain streaming down her face. There's a cat. She's scared. You'll catch pneumonia. Then I'll catch pneumonia. She turned back to the hedge, making soft coaxing sounds. Help me or leave. Ji-soo stared at her for a long moment. Inexplicably, he knelt beside her. Together they coaxed the terrified cat out. Mona bundled the shivering animal in her ruined cardigan, cradling it against her chest. "Thank you," she said, looking at him with genuine warmth. He was suddenly aware of how close they were, how her wet hair clung to her face, how her eyes were bright despite the cold. "You're strange," he said quietly. She chuckled softly. "I get that a lot." Something had shifted. He wasn't sure when, but he couldn't seem to stop seeing her now. The next week, Mona visited Grandmother Han for tea. "How is my grandson treating you?" the older woman asked. Mona hesitated. "He's trying to freeze me out, but I think the ice is cracking." Grandmother Han smiled. "Good. He needs someone stubborn enough to reach him." Then her expression grew serious. She told Mona about Ji-soo's parents who were killed a while back, about a fiancé named Rena who died in a fire 2 years ago. He loved her deeply. When she died, something in him died too. Grandmother Han took Mona's hand. "He became a shell, cold, distant. I thought I'd lost him forever." She squeezed gently. "But since you arrived, I see glimpses of the boy he used to be. Don't give up on him." Mona nodded, but inside she was churning. She was starting to care about Ji-soo. This was supposed to be a transaction, a year of her life for Minho's future. When did it become something more? She didn't have an answer. It was 3 a.m. when Ji-soo heard the scream. He was in his study, unable to sleep as usual, when the sound cut through the silence. Muffled, but unmistakable. He reached Mona's door in seconds. She was alone, tangled in sheets, crying in her sleep. "No, please, don't hurt him. Minho," she thrashed, fighting invisible demons. "Please, I'll do anything. Just don't hurt him." Ji-soo froze. He should leave. This wasn't his business, but she sounded so broken. He sat on the edge of her bed, touched her shoulder gently. "Mona, wake up. You're safe." She jerked awake, gasping, eyes wild with terror. For a moment, she didn't recognize him. Her hand flew up defensively. He caught it gently. "It's me, Ji-soo. You're safe." Recognition flooded her face, then mortification. "I'm sorry. Did I wake you? I'm so sorry. Who's Minho?" She went very still. "You said the name. You begged someone not to hurt him." Her eyes filled with tears, she blinked away rapidly. "Bad dream. I don't remember it now." She was lying. He knew she was lying, but he also knew he had no right to push, not when he'd spent weeks keeping her at arm's length. He stood to leave, paused at the door. "If you need anything..." He didn't know how to finish, but she looked at him and whispered, "Thank you." Ji-soo's heart skipped a beat. After that night, something changed. Ji-soo stopped actively avoiding her. They had coffee together in the mornings, quiet, but not hostile. He asked about her day. She asked about his work. Small talk became real talk. One evening, Mona told a ridiculous story about attempting to cook Korean food for the staff. The kitchen was literally on fire. Small fire. Tiny fire. Mrs. Park forgave me eventually. Ji-soo laughed. The sound surprised them both. Mona stared at him. "You should do that more often." "Do what?" he asked. "Laugh. You look more handsome when you do." He swallowed a lump, his cheeks heating up. He didn't know what to say, so he said nothing, but something warm settled in his chest. 2 weeks later, Ji-soo came home late. Hours late. He'd been caught in meetings, and his phone had died, and he hadn't thought to call. He found Mona asleep on the porch swing, wrapped in a blanket. She'd waited for him. No one had waited for him in years. For a long moment he just looked at her, at the way her hair fell across her face, at the peaceful expression that replaced her usual bright mask. Carefully, he lifted her into his arms. She stirred, murmured something, settled against his chest. He carried her inside, not to her room, but to his. Morning light woke Mona. She was in an unfamiliar bed, Ji-soo's bed. He sat in a chair by the window, watching her. How did I... You were on the porch. You'll catch your death sleeping outside. She sat up slowly. You carried me to your room. The other bedrooms were too far. They both knew that was a lie. Silence stretched between them, different from the hostile silences of before. This was heavier, charged with something neither wanted to name. You can move in here, he said quietly, if you want. Ji-soo, I'm not promising anything. I don't know what I'm doing. He stopped, started again. I don't want you to be cold. She stared at him, then slowly smiled. Okay. Okay? He asked. Was I supposed to argue? The ghost of a smile crossed his face. Mona moved into Ji-soo's room that afternoon. They shared a bed, but didn't cross lines. An unspoken boundary, neither acknowledged. But there was intimacy in small things. Her toothbrush next to his. Her laughter in the mornings. Her warmth beside him at night. Ji-soo found himself looking forward to coming home. He found himself wanting to protect her. Happiness. One evening, she had flour on her cheek from baking. He reached out to brush it away. His hand lingered. Her breath caught. The moment stretched, electric and fragile. A staff member knocked, shattering it. They stepped apart, flushed and confused. But the tension remained, simmering beneath the surface. That night, another nightmare. Worse than before. Mona screamed, thrashed, sobbed. Ji-soo pulled her into his arms. I'm here. You're safe. I've got you. She woke crying, clinging to him. He found us, she gasped. In my dream. He found us. Who? Who found you? She buried her face in his chest, trembling. He held her until she stopped shaking. When she looked up, her eyes were red but steady. Why are you being so kind to me? I don't know, he admitted. I just can't seem to stop. She reached up, touched his face. He should pull away, maintain distance. But he couldn't. He kissed her instead. Soft, tentative, a question more than a statement. She answered by pulling him closer. When they finally broke apart, foreheads touching, something had irrevocably changed. The next day, Ji-soo stood before Rena's grave. I promised you I'd never love again. I promised I'd carry you forever. The wind stirred the flowers someone had left, probably Grandmother Han. But I think I'm breaking that promise, and I don't know how to feel about it. He knelt, touching the headstone. She's not you. She'll never be you. But she makes me feel alive again, for the first time in years. Silence, just the wind. I hope you understand. I hope you're at peace. He stood, took a breath, then he walked away without looking back. That evening, Mona and Ji-soo were having dinner together. They were laughing and talking. His hand found hers across the table. Then the doorbell rang. A staff member answered, then returned, pale-faced. Sir, there's someone at the door. Ji-soo went to the entrance. Stopped dead. A woman stood there, thin, battered, sickly, but unmistakable. Rena, his dead fiancée. Ji-soo, her voice cracked. I'm home. The world tilted. Behind him, he heard Mona's sharp intake of breath, and everything he'd just started to believe in came crashing down. Rena stood in the foyer, trembling and pale, dark circles under her eyes, clothes hanging off her thin frame. "I escaped the fire," she said, voice breaking. "But I had amnesia. I spent 2 years recovering in a hospital, not knowing who I was." Ji-soo couldn't move, couldn't think. The woman he'd mourned was alive. "My memories only recently returned." Rena reached for him. "I came straight home." She was tearful, fragile, everything she'd always been. Mona stepped forward before Ji-soo could speak. "You must be exhausted. Please, come in. I'll have a room prepared." Rena looked at her with barely concealed hostility. "Who are you?" "I'm Mona, Ji-soo's wife." Rena's face crumbled. "You replaced me?" "I thought you were dead," Ji-soo finally said. Mona quietly excused herself, feeling the walls close in. What Rena didn't tell them, she'd faked her death. She'd been terrified after Ji-soo's parents were killed in Mafia violence. Couldn't face the danger, couldn't leave openly. He was too powerful, too feared. So she staged the fire and disappeared. Spent 2 years abroad, safe and comfortable. Then she heard Ji-soo had left the Mafia. He was safe now. She wanted him back. His wealth, his status, his devotion. But she found an obstacle. Mona. She hired investigators. Found everything. The abusive stepfather. The brother. The years of running. And the payment from grandmother Han. Then a plan formed. 2 days later, Rena approached Ji-soo in his study with all wounded innocence. "I've been trying to understand how you moved on so quickly." "Rena?" "She is not genuine." "Did you know your grandmother paid her?" Ji-soo froze. "What?" "I wasn't going to say anything, but..." She showed him a document. "I found a bank transfer, a large one, made the day before your wedding." Ji-soo dismissed her, but the seed was planted. He checked his grandmother's accounts himself. There it was, a payment to Mona Davis. His world crumbled again. He found Mona in the garden, showed her the bank statement. "How much did my grandmother pay you?" The color drained from Mona's face. "Let me explain," she began. "Was any of it real? The smiles? The kiss? Or was I just a paycheck?" Ji-soo asked, his eyes already glassy with tears. "It's not what you think. The money wasn't for me." "Then who was it for?" She opened her mouth, closed it. The truth about Minho sat on her tongue, but she saw the betrayal in his eyes, the walls slamming back up. He'd already decided he wouldn't hear her. "I can't do this," Ji-soo said, looking at Mona like he was disgusted. "Ji-soo, please." "I trusted you." His voice cracked. "Let you in. And all along." He turned and walked away. She called after him, but he didn't stop. He couldn't. If he stopped, he'd break. Morning came cold and gray. Mona didn't wait to be asked to leave. She packed her small bag, the same one she'd arrived with, and left a note on the kitchen counter. "I'm sorry for everything. Please tell your grandmother I'm grateful for what she did for my brother." Ji-soo found it an hour later. Read it 3 times. Her brother. The money was for her brother. A sick feeling built in his stomach, but pride and pain kept him from going after her. He told himself he was relieved. He was lying. Mona took a bus to Minho's boarding school. She needed to see him, the one person who never doubted her. He ran to her during lunch break. "Nuna." She held him tight, breathing him in. "I missed you." "I missed you too." He frowned. "Why are you crying?" "Mona Davis?" She turned. 2 police officers stood behind her. "You're under arrest for the kidnapping of Park Minho." The world stopped. "What?" She couldn't believe her ears. Minho screamed, "She didn't kidnap me! She saved me!" "Ma'am, please come with us." Mona couldn't speak, couldn't move. just felt the cold metal of handcuffs clicking around her wrists. "Nuna! Tell them!" Minho yelled as one for their teachers held him from running after Mona. But the truth didn't matter. The law said she took a child. The law didn't care why. They put her in a car. The last thing she saw was Minho's face, streaked with tears, screaming that they had it wrong. A news alert lit up Ji-soo's phone. Breaking. Wife of Han Group. Heir arrested for kidnapping. He saw Mona's face on the screen. Pale, terrified, in handcuffs. Kidnapping a child. Park Minho. Minho. Her brother. He called Jae-min. Get me everything about Mona. Her background. Her family. Now. 3 hours later, the files arrived. Medical records spanning years. Accidents that weren't accidents. Fractured wrist at 14. Broken collarbone at 16. School reports noting a child who flinched at loud noises. Police complaints that went nowhere because someone with money buried them. And security footage from 4 years ago. Grainy. Brutal. A man, Park Dae-jung, striking Mona across the face, grabbing a crying child, throwing him against a wall. And Mona, 20 years old, bleeding, stepping between them, taking the blows meant for her brother. Ji-soo watched until his hands shook. His hands curled into fists, jaw clenching. She was carrying this, and he never asked. The payment wasn't for her. It was for Minho's safety. She gave up everything, her freedom, her future, her heart, for a child. And he accused her of using him for money. He dialed Jae-min. Get me the best defense attorney in Korea and find out who's behind this. A holding cell. Cold concrete. Fluorescent lights. Mona sat with knees, drawn up, looking smaller than ever. Ji-soo sat across from her, glass between them. Why are you here? She asked. To get you out. I saw the footage from your old apartment. She closed her eyes. I should have listened, he said. You tried to explain, and I... His voice cracked. I've lost everyone. When I found out about the payment, I thought you'd be another person who'd leave. So I left first. He pressed his hand to the glass. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Silence stretched between them. Then slowly, she pressed her palm against the glass opposite his. Get me out of here, she whispered. Please. I will. Whatever it takes. Ji-soo mobilized everything. Money, connections, the best legal team in Korea. Investigators dug into Dae-jung's history. Years of bribery to silence police complaints. Medical records proving sustained abuse. Witnesses who were too scared to speak before. They found the connection to Rena. Phone records showing she contacted Dae-jung, gave him Minho's location. The defense argued this was rescue, not kidnapping. The system failed this family. Mona had no choice. Minho's recorded testimony was devastating. My father hurt us every day. My Nuna would put herself between us so he'd hit her instead of me. I begged her to take me. She saved my life. The courtroom was silent as the judge reviewed everything. Finally, he spoke. The evidence clearly demonstrates that Ms. Davis acted to protect a minor child from documented severe abuse. The system failed this family repeatedly. He looked at Mona. The charges are dismissed. Ms. Davis, you are free to go. The courtroom erupted. Mona collapsed, sobbing. Minho broke through the crowd and threw himself into her arms. Ji-soo watched from the gallery, tears in his own eyes. It was over. She was free. Outside, chaos, reporters, cameras, shouting. Mona stood on the steps, overwhelmed, Minho's hand in hers. Ji-soo approached slowly. Mona. She turned and looked up at him, then reached for his hand. Thank you. He took it, pulling her close. The trio hugged. With all evidence public, Dae-jung faced charges. multiple counts of domestic violence, child abuse, bribery of officials, witness coercion. Despite his wealth and connections, the evidence was overwhelming. Public outrage was massive. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Ji-soo visited once, delivering a cold warning. If you ever come near them again, you'll disappear. Permanently. Rena fled the country that same week. She never returned. Mona's mother came to the mansion 3 weeks after the trial. She looked older than Mona remembered. Thinner, gray streaking her hair. They sat in the garden, an awkward silence between them. "I'm sorry," her mother said finally. "I should have protected you. Both of you. I was weak. I was scared. But that's no excuse." Mona looked at her hands. "You let him hurt us for years." No. You watched us leave and didn't do anything." Her vision blurred with tears. She blinked in an attempt to hold back the tears. "I know." Her mother's voice broke. "I failed you. I failed Minho. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry." Mona was quiet for a long time. "I can't forgive you yet," she said finally. "Maybe someday. But I won't stop you from seeing Minho. He's your son, after all. So I'll talk him. If he wants to see you, then—" Her mother nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you. That's more than I deserve." She left shortly after. Mona watched her go and felt nothing but emptiness where anger used to be. Ji-soo found her there an hour later. "You okay?" "I don't know," Mona admitted, "but I will be." He pulled her close. 1 week later, Minho moved permanently into the mansion. Ji-soo sat him down for a serious talk. "I know I'm not your father, and I know you've been through hell. But if you'll let me, I'd like to take care of you. Legally. Officially." Minho stared. "You want to adopt me?" "Only if you want that." A long pause. Then he began, "My father hurt us every day, but my Nuna saved me. She gave up everything for me." He looked up. "And you saved her. So yeah, I want that." Ji-soo pulled him into a hug. "Thank you," he whispered, "for trusting me." "Thank you," Minho whispered back. 6 months later, they spent a day at the beach. Minho was taller now, healthier, laughing freely. He dragged Ji-soo toward a sandcastle. "Hyung, help me." Ji-soo laughed, a real, genuine laugh, and followed. Mona watched them, tears in her eyes. Ji-soo returned, sat beside her, arm around her shoulders. "Happy?" She leaned into him. "Yeah, I really am." He kissed her forehead. "Me too." Minho yelled for them to come help. They went, laughing, together. A family. Finally. 1 year later, Grandmother Han died peacefully, surrounded by family. At the funeral, Ji-soo finally allowed himself to grieve. For her, for his parents, for all the lost years. Mona held him through it all. In her final letter, Grandmother Han wrote, "My dear Ji-soo, I knew from the moment I met Mona that she was the one who could reach you. She wasn't perfect, but she had survived. She knew what it meant to lose, to suffer, to protect what matters. I'm sorry I didn't tell you her whole story. I wanted you to discover her yourself. Thank you for loving her. Thank you for letting me see you happy before I left. That's all I ever wanted." From Grandma. Ji-soo folded the letter carefully, took Mona's hand, and they walked home, together. If you're Team Mona, subscribe and turn on the bell. If not, I'll see you in the next story.